Drinking water isn't as good for you as you probably think. That might sound completely crazy at first, but after more than 30 years digging through thousands of studies, analyzing clinical data from around the world, and closely tracking real patient cases, I've seen something that changes everything. The belief most Americans hold so tightly that chugging tons of clean water every day is the golden ticket to perfect health, glowing skin, and non-stop energy is actually creating far more serious problems than anyone realizes. People treat their water bottles like armor against every ailment, forcing down gulp after gulp to hit the 8 glasses a day rule or 2 liters, convinced that more is always better. Yet this very habit runs straight into conflict with how our bodies are truly built to function. Stop and picture it for a second. Millions of us start the day with a bottle by the bed, carry one everywhere we go, and proudly check our urine to make sure it's crystal clear as proof we're doing it right. But here's what I've actually observed in case after case: constant bloating, running to the bathroom every 20 minutes, and disrupting work or sleep, and chronic fatigue that people blame on stress, aging, or anything else. The root cause? Overdrinking beyond what your body actually needs dilutes the sodium and essential electrolytes in your blood, a condition called hyponatremia that shows up far more often than most people know. I've reviewed tragic stories from water drinking contests where participants died in hours because their brains swelled from the excess fluid. Those aren't rare flukes. They're extreme examples of what happens when we push past our limits. This rock-solid belief didn't come from strong science. It started with a simple misunderstanding back in 1945. A U.S. Nutrition Committee suggested about 2.5 liters of total fluid a day, but the very next sentence got lost in translation. Most of this water is already supplied in the food we eat. That one overlooked line created an 80-year myth. When Dr. Heinz Volten at Dartmouth did a full review in 2002 for the American Journal of Physiology, he found 0 rigorous studies backing the famous 8x8 rule for healthy people in normal environments. None. Large population surveys show everyday adults thrive on far less than that magic number. You might be wondering why everyone, from doctors and books to social media influencers with giant water bottles, still pushes this so hard. The truth is, water seems completely harmless, like a natural miracle cure. But our bodies have an incredibly smart thirst mechanism, refined over millions of years of evolution, that tells us exactly when we need fluids. Why ignore that built-in signal and chase a one-size-fits-all number instead? An office worker in air-conditioned comfort doesn't need the same amount as someone sweating through a workout in the heat. Yet blanket advice gets applied to everyone. The subtle downsides add up fast. Skin doesn't glow more. Sometimes it actually feels drier because of mineral imbalance. Your kidneys work overtime filtering extra fluid. Hormones like vasopressin get disrupted, affecting fluid balance and even sleep. And the biggest irony: while everyone fears dehydration as the root of every problem, plenty of healthy people stay energized and clear-headed on much less water than the hype suggests, getting most of it naturally from food and other drinks. Overdoing plain water can even raise your exposure to contaminants if the source isn't perfect. Now, if you're sitting there holding your bottle and feeling a little uneasy, that's actually the perfect starting point. The idea that more water is always better isn't an absolute truth like we've all been taught. It's full of contradictions, and what I've tracked shows we've confused needing water with forcing water. One is your body's natural wisdom. The other is cultural pressure mixed with a billion-dollar bottled water industry. Let's dig deeper into the common beliefs that quietly cause trouble. First, the myth that the more you drink, the better. People think if 2 liters are good, 3 or 4 must be fantastic. I've seen folks carry liter bottles and finish one after another, like a sacred ritual, terrified that skipping any will lead to toxins, bad skin, or tiredness. But forcing that extra volume makes your body process more than it needs, leading to non-stop bathroom trips, bloating, and that heavy, sluggish feeling all day. Many young adults I've worked with complain of constant fatigue, even though they drink water perfectly. And when we look closer, they're often pushing past 3.5 liters without ever feeling truly thirsty. Another widespread idea is that urine must be completely clear, like water, to prove you're healthy. Millions check the color every day like a scoreboard. They celebrate when it's almost invisible and worry when it's even slightly yellow. Here's the surprising truth I've seen over and over. Crystal clear urine is usually a sign you're drinking too much and diluting your electrolytes. A pale to light yellow shade is actually your body working efficiently and conserving resources the smart way. Yet the belief runs so deep that people feel guilty if their urine isn't see-through. Some end up going to the bathroom 12 or 15 times a day just to keep it clear, creating mild ongoing sodium imbalance and unexplained tiredness. Then there's the promise that extra water gives you beautiful skin and helps with weight loss. Everyone hears that water plumps skin and boosts metabolism. But in controlled studies, real improvements in skin moisture only show up in people who were already significantly dehydrated. For the average healthy person, forcing more water makes almost no difference in elasticity, wrinkles, or glow. In fact, I've seen cases where skin felt drier because essential minerals got diluted. On weight loss, people drink before meals to feel full, but that can blunt natural hunger signals and sometimes lead to overeating later. Another trap is drinking on a strict schedule no matter what your body says. 500 milliliters first thing in the morning, 300 milliliters before every meal, and so on. We treat it like a machine program. But why trust a human-made number more than the thirst mechanism evolution spent millions of years perfecting? When people follow the clock instead of their body, they lose touch with real thirst. The result? Constantly feeling full of water, poor digestion, and mild ongoing stomach issues. Even the idea that only pure, filtered water is safe backfires for some. Many avoid mineral water or anything with impurities, sticking strictly to RO or distilled. Removing nearly all minerals means your body has to pull from its own stores in bones and muscles to stay balanced when you drink large amounts. Over time, I've seen muscle fatigue and minor cramps in people who thought they were doing everything right by choosing the cleanest water. All these beliefs come down to the same basic mistake: treating water like medicine you have to dose exactly instead of a natural part of life. That misunderstanding quietly stresses your kidneys, hormones, and internal balance. People think they're taking perfect care of themselves, but many are actually making their bodies work harder and feel more off balance than necessary. The symptoms: afternoon fatigue, post-drink bloating, nighttime bathroom trips, dull skin, get blamed on everything except the real culprit, the popular way we've been taught to drink. The more someone tries to do it right according to the rules, the more subtle but persistent issues often appear. Behind all the surface myths lies an even more fascinating story: the incredibly sophisticated biology your body uses to manage water. At the center is your hypothalamus, a tiny region in the brain that constantly monitors blood concentration through osmoreceptors. If levels rise just 1 or 2%, it triggers two perfect responses at once: the feeling of thirst and the release of arginine vasopressin, also called ADH. Vasopressin is the star player, produced in the hypothalamus and stored in the pituitary. It travels to the kidneys when needed and attaches to receptors that move special water channels called aquaporin 2 right to the cell surface. That lets your kidneys pull water back into the bloodstream exactly when you need it most. But when you flood your system with extra water, the opposite happens fast. Blood concentration drops, vasopressin gets suppressed, those channels retreat, and your kidneys basically turn into a wide-open drain, leading to heavy urine output. Your kidneys have a clear limit. They can safely handle and excrete only about 0.8 to 1 liter of water per hour. Push past that quickly, and sodium drops fast. Water rushes into cells, especially brain cells, which have no room to expand, and you get headaches, nausea, or worse. The whole renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system gets thrown off too, causing more sodium loss when you thought you were helping your body. This is the exact mechanism behind those marathon runners who overdrink preventively and end up in real trouble. Your digestive system feels it as well. Extra water at once dilutes stomach juices and can temporarily slow mineral absorption. The entire system is designed to be conservative. It's better at getting rid of excess than hoarding it. But when we keep pushing it beyond its natural design, that built-in safety feature becomes a burden. This biology didn't develop in today's world of endless bottled water and air-conditioned offices. For hundreds of thousands of years, our ancestors lived in environments like the African savanna, where clean water wasn't available 24/7. Their genes, and ours, are still tuned for scarcity. They got most hydration from juicy fruits, vegetables, fresh meat, and even marrow, not from constantly sipping plain water. Modern hunter-gatherer groups like the Hadza or Kung drink very little straight water and stay perfectly balanced. Their kidneys could concentrate urine far more powerfully than ours do when we overdrink. Sweat had less sodium. Vasopressin worked hard to conserve every drop. Evolution optimized us to handle temporary thirst brilliantly, not to process constant mild overhydration. That's why today's environment creates such a mismatch. We sit still with water always within reach, drink on schedules that ignore our circadian rhythm. Vasopressin is naturally higher at night to reduce bathroom trips, and replace food-based water with pure floods that hit our system too fast. In hot, humid climates like many parts of the world, sweat carries electrolytes too, so plain water alone can dilute things even more. Office workers in dry air-conditioned rooms follow the same advice as outdoor laborers, ignoring how different their real needs are. All of this explains the mountain of conflicting research that keeps coming up. Dr. Valton's 2002 review found no evidence for the 8x8 rule, yet some observational studies link good hydration to lower chronic disease risk. Large trials show extra water helps prevent kidney stones in people who already get them. But in healthy adults or early-stage kidney patients, forcing more water doesn't improve function and sometimes adds unnecessary strain. Skin and energy studies are the same. Benefits only appear if someone was already dehydrated. Otherwise, results are weak or non-existent. Marathon research is especially telling. Runners who drank on a fixed schedule to stay ahead had far higher hyponatremia rates than those who simply drank when thirsty. Time and again, the data shows U-shaped or J-shaped curves. Both too little and too much fluid are linked to higher risks of certain cancers, overall mortality, or biological aging, while water from food shows steady benefits. Randomized trials usually find little upside to pushing extra water in healthy people, while observational data can look positive, but often confuses hydration with overall healthy lifestyles. Major health organizations like the National Academy of Medicine give totals that include food and drinks and emphasize as needed. Yet popular culture still screams, drink more. The science isn't broken. It's just trying to tell us that a one-size-fits-all number can't work for a dynamic, highly individual system. That's why the real answer isn't drink less or drink more. It's drink smarter. The right approach is simple but powerful. Let your body's own signals lead. Drink when you feel genuine thirst. Stop when it's satisfied. People who follow this natural guidance keep their sodium stable, their vasopressin working in rhythm, and they avoid the bloating, nighttime trips, and fatigue that plague rule followers. They often end up drinking less total volume, yet feel more effectively hydrated, because they're not constantly diluting electrolytes. Water from food turns out to be superior in many ways. Fruits, vegetables, soups, and broths deliver fluid slowly, along with natural minerals, fiber, and electrolytes that your kidneys handle gently. That's how our ancestors stayed balanced without ever carrying bottles. Everything is personal. A fit young person working outside in heat needs different amounts and electrolytes than an older adult in a cool office. Age, activity, climate, and even time of day matter. Respect your circadian rhythm. Vasopressin is higher at night, so loading up right before bed works against you. In hot weather, a little natural salt or coconut water, when you sweat heavily, keeps balance better than plain water alone. Water is still absolutely essential. It powers every cell, every reaction, every function in your body. It matters more than any supplement, but the secret isn't forcing it or turning it into a daily contest. The secret is harmony, responding instead of commanding, listening instead of dictating, respecting the sophisticated system evolution gave us instead of overriding it with rules. After walking through the history, the myths, the biology, the evolutionary mismatch, and the research paradoxes, the picture finally comes into focus. Water remains the foundation of life, but only when we understand it the right way, not by pouring more in, but by tuning in, not by obeying numbers, but by living in partnership with our bodies. If you've stayed with me through all of this, you've already taken the first step toward real freedom. Stop tracking every milliliter. Stop worrying about clear urine as a scorecard. Start noticing how you actually feel when you simply drink when thirsty and eat real food. Many people I've guided report they have more energy, better digestion, clearer skin, and deeper sleep. Not because they drank more, but because they finally drank right. That's the quiet revolution. We took a beautiful, elegant biological need and turned it into cultural stress and anxiety. Now we get to take the stress back out. Water still matters enormously, but it matters most when we stop trying to control it and start trusting the wisdom that's been inside us for hundreds of thousands of years. And if you're ready, in my next talks, we'll keep flipping the script on other everyday health beliefs that hide similar surprises. Your body has been whispering the truth all along. Let's keep learning how to listen.